A decade of shifting sands crime in the U.S. The United States has grappled with crime for decades. From the bustling streets of New York to the quiet rural towns of the Midwest, crime has left its mark on every corner of the nation. Each region tells a different story, yet they are all interconnected by the broader trends that shape the country's criminal landscape. Over the past 10 years, the landscape of crime has shifted. Urban areas have seen both spikes and declines in various types of crime, while rural areas have faced their own unique challenges. The evolution of crime is a complex narrative influenced by numerous factors, including economic conditions, law enforcement strategies, and social changes. Trends have emerged, some encouraging, others concerning. For instance, while violent crime rates have seen a general decline, certain types of crime, such as cybercrime and drug-related offenses, have surged. These trends reflect the changing nature of criminal activity and the evolving tactics of those who commit crimes. This essay delves into the intricate reality of crime in the U.S., examining data and dissecting public perception. By analyzing statistics and understanding the stories behind the numbers, we can gain a clearer picture of the true state of crime in America. Public perception often differs from reality, influenced by media coverage and personal experiences. The years between 2014 and 2024 have been a roller coaster. Economic fluctuations, political changes, and social movements have all played a role in shaping crime trends during this period. Each year brought new challenges and developments, making it a decade of significant transformation. We've seen periods of relative peace and sudden spikes in violence. Suburban neighborhoods have enjoyed stretches of tranquility, while urban centers have occasionally erupted in chaos. These fluctuations highlight the unpredictable nature of crime and the factors that can trigger sudden changes. Understanding these fluctuations requires careful analysis. By studying the data and considering the broader context, we can identify patterns and potential causes. This knowledge is crucial for developing effective strategies to combat crime and enhance public safety. We must look beyond the headlines and delve into the numbers. Sensational news stories often capture attention, but they don't always provide a complete picture. A deeper examination of crime statistics reveals the underlying trends and helps us understand the true scope of the issue. This period also witnessed the rise of the opioid crisis, a slow-moving disaster. The epidemic has had far-reaching consequences, affecting not only those directly involved, but also their families and communities. It has strained public health systems and law enforcement agencies, creating a multifaceted challenge. This epidemic has ravaged communities and fueled a surge in drug-related crime. The increase in drug abuse has led to higher rates of theft, violence, and other criminal activities as individuals seek to support their addictions. The impact on communities has been devastating, with long-term social and economic repercussions. From prescription painkillers to deadly fentanyl, the impact of drugs on the criminal justice system cannot be overstated. Law enforcement agencies have had to adapt to new challenges, developing specialized units and strategies to combat the growing threat of drug-related crime. This essay will explore these trends, providing a clear picture of crime in the U.S. over the last decade. By understanding the past, we can better prepare for the future, developing policies and practices that address the root causes of crime and promote a safer society for all. The shadow of perception: public fear versus facts. Public perception of crime often diverges from reality. Many people believe that crime rates are soaring, driven by the constant stream of alarming news stories and sensational headlines. Media coverage, political rhetoric, and personal experiences can skew our understanding. The news often highlights the most shocking and violent incidents, which can create a distorted view of the overall crime landscape. While it's crucial to acknowledge the very real impact of crime on victims, it's equally important to ground our understanding in facts. Victims' stories are powerful and necessary, but they represent individual experiences rather than the broader trend. FBI data reveals a general downward trend in violent crime over the past 2 decades. This data is collected meticulously and provides a more accurate picture of crime rates than anecdotal evidence. However, this trend is not always reflected in public discourse. Politicians and activists may use fear of crime to advance their agendas, often ignoring the broader statistical trends. Sensationalized news stories and political agendas often amplify fear, creating a perception of rampant lawlessness. This can lead to a heightened sense of insecurity among the public. This disconnect between perception and reality can be harmful. When people believe crime is worse than it is, they may support policies that are not necessarily effective or just. it can lead to misguided policies, strained community relations, and a diminished sense of safety. Communities may become divided, and resources may be allocated based on fear rather than need. By separating fact from fiction, we can foster a more informed and productive conversation about crime in America. Understanding the true nature of crime trends allows for better policy decisions and a more cohesive society. Violent tides, examining the peaks and troughs. While the overall trend in violent crime has been downward, specific years have witnessed alarming spikes. Understanding these fluctuations is key to developing effective crime prevention strategies. 2020, the year the COVID-19 pandemic gripped the world, saw a significant surge in homicides across U.S. cities. Experts attribute this spike to a confluence of factors, including economic hardship, social isolation, and the disruption of social services. Conversely, the years following 2020 saw a decline in violent crime rates. This suggests that the factors contributing to the 2020 surge were likely temporary. However, the 2020 spike serves as a stark reminder of the volatility of crime rates and the need for adaptable crime prevention measures. The pandemic effect. Crime in the time of COVID. The COVID-19 pandemic had a profound impact on American society, and its effects on crime were undeniable. As the virus spread, cities and towns across the nation went into lockdown, creating an eerie silence in once bustling streets. Lockdowns, economic uncertainty, and social isolation created a perfect storm for certain types of crime to flourish. With businesses shuttered and millions out of work, the desperation grew, leading to a rise in property crimes and theft. The closure of schools and businesses led to increased opportunities for property crime. Empty buildings became easy targets for burglars, and the lack of witnesses made it easier for these crimes to go unnoticed. Domestic violence incidents rose as families were confined to their homes under immense stress. The pressures of job loss, financial strain, and constant proximity created a volatile environment for many households. The pandemic also exacerbated existing social inequalities, making vulnerable communities even more susceptible to crime. In low-income areas, the lack of resources and support systems intensified the struggles, leading to higher crime rates. While the full impact of the pandemic on crime rates is still being studied, it's clear that COVID-19 had a significant and multifaceted impact. Law enforcement agencies faced new challenges, from enforcing lockdown measures to dealing with increased crime rates. Understanding this impact is crucial for developing strategies to address the root causes of crime and build safer communities. By analyzing the data and learning from this unprecedented time, we can work towards a more resilient and equitable society. Section 5. Beyond the headlines. A deeper dive into crime stats. To fully grasp the complexities of crime in the U.S., we must go beyond the headlines and delve into specific crime statistics. Data from the FBI and the Council on Criminal Justice provides valuable insights into trends in specific offenses. For instance, while the overall homicide rate has declined, certain cities have experienced significant increases in recent years. This highlights the importance of understanding crime trends at a local level. Similarly, while some property crimes like residential burglaries have decreased, others, like motor vehicle thefts, have seen an uptick. These variations underscore the need for targeted interventions that address the specific challenges faced by different communities. Section 6. The opioid crisis, a slow-burning national emergency. The opioid crisis has cast a long shadow over the United States for over 2 decades. What began as an increase in prescription painkiller abuse has morphed into a complex public health crisis fueled by powerful synthetic opioids like fentanyl. The overprescription of opioids in the late 1990s led to widespread dependence and addiction. As prescription opioids became more difficult to obtain, many turned to cheaper and more readily available heroin. This epidemic has fueled a rise in drug-related crime, including theft, robbery, and trafficking. The human cost of this crisis is immeasurable, with countless lives lost to overdoses and families torn apart by addiction. Section 7. Fentanyl, a new danger on the streets. The emergence of fentanyl has further complicated the opioid crisis. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid up to 100 times more potent than morphine. It's often mixed with other drugs, making it difficult for users to know what they're ingesting. This potent drug has driven a surge in overdose deaths. Its cheap production and ease of trafficking have made it a lucrative market for criminal organizations. Combating the fentanyl epidemic requires a multi-pronged approach. This includes increased access to addiction treatment, public education campaigns about the dangers of fentanyl, and law enforcement efforts to disrupt trafficking networks. Section 8. Seeking solutions, data, community, and collaboration. Addressing the complex issue of crime in the United States requires a multifaceted approach rooted in data, community engagement, and collaboration. Data-driven solutions are essential for identifying crime hotspots, understanding the factors that contribute to crime, and evaluating the effectiveness of interventions. Community involvement is equally crucial. Building trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve is essential for effective crime prevention. Collaboration between law enforcement, social service providers, and community organizations is also key. By working together, these stakeholders can address the underlying social and economic factors that contribute to crime. Section 9. A Safer Tomorrow: Hope and Action in the Face of Crime. While the challenges posed by crime are significant, they are not insurmountable. By embracing data-driven solutions, fostering community engagement, and promoting collaboration, we can create a safer tomorrow for all Americans. It's important to remember that behind the statistics are real people whose lives have been impacted by crime. By working together, we can build a society where everyone feels safe and secure in their communities. The fight against crime is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It requires sustained effort, adaptability, and a commitment to justice and equity. By working together, we can create a brighter future for all. Hey everyone! Today I'm diving into a huge Supreme Court decision that's shaking up the world of firearms. We're talking about ghost guns. You've probably heard the term before, but let's break it down. Ghost guns are essentially DIY firearms that lack serial numbers, making them untraceable and often sold without background checks. They're a big deal because they can be assembled from kits or even 3D printed. So, what's the latest? On March 26, 2025, the Supreme Court upheld a regulation from the ATF that tightens the reins on these ghost guns. In a 6-3 decision, the court said that key parts of ghost guns, like the frame and receiver, must be treated as firearms under federal law. This means they need serial numbers and must be sold by licensed dealers who conduct background checks. Let's talk about why this matters. Law enforcement agencies have been finding more and more ghost guns at crime scenes in major cities like Los Angeles, New York, and Chicago. These guns have been linked to a rise in violent crimes. The ATF made this regulation to try and curb that trend, and the Supreme Court backed them up. Now, this wasn't without controversy. Manufacturers and gun rights advocates took the federal government to court, arguing that this rule overstepped legal boundaries and infringed on Second Amendment rights. But the Supreme Court didn't agree. They said the ATF acted within its authority because public safety concerns justified tighter oversight. Chief Justice John Roberts even called ghost guns a unique and growing threat. This ruling is a win for the Biden administration, which has prioritized reducing gun violence. Attorney General Merrick Garland praised the decision, saying it would save lives and make our communities safer. On the flip side, groups like the Firearms Policy Coalition condemned the ruling, warning it could lead to more government control over individual freedoms. So, what does this mean moving forward? This decision is likely to embolden federal agencies to enforce stricter rules on firearms. It also sets a clear precedent for how new technologies like 3D printing will be regulated when it comes to guns. Licensed gun sellers will need to follow stricter regulations, while unlicensed vendors could face serious penalties. In conclusion, the Supreme Court has drawn a definitive line. Ghost guns are guns, and they must be regulated as such. It's a significant moment in the ongoing debate over gun control, and we'll be watching closely to see how it plays out. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates. Catch you next time.